Hey folks, David here. I'm going to talk about my Pennsylvania Doodlebug that is MTH Rail King that I bought at the Kutztown Train Show 2 weeks ago. And this has Proto Sound in it, which I didn't know anything about. And what had happened is I got this and I put it on the track and it powered up. It made some engine noises and the bell went ding ding and nothing else happened. So I thought, well, maybe like a post-war, you power it off and power it back on and it should run. And nothing happened, and I was very upset. So my good friend Nick from Nick's Crossing and Dave from D.A. Griffin Hobbies was able to lead me in the right direction. So I'll show you what I found in here and talk about that. So before you do anything, the best thing to do is get the manual for it. Now, first of all, on the box here, it has the part number right here. You can barely see that, I'll probably not see it, but this is 30-2158-1. So you can simply go to the website. Just a minute. So you go to mthtrains.com, and over here it says service, right here, service. Then we go down here to document search, click on document search, and then put in the part number of your engine, 30-2158-1. Search. Okay, so here we have three different models. We have a 2158-3 and a 2158-0. So if you just simply click on the document here, the little booklet, it'll take you to the manual for it. The nice thing is you don't have to log in. They don't want your name, your address, or anything like that. Just, you know, they have the documents right here. So this is a nice 36-page document, and you can download it for free, and it's got a lot of good information. So if you're new to Proto Sound, definitely download it. And even if you're not, it's probably a good idea to download it for each engine because there may be some differences. So here's the manual that I downloaded for it. It was very helpful. And, well, I'll explain all this later, but it tells you how to activate different sounds and a little bit of maintenance in here. So like I said, when I bought this and it didn't power up, Dave and Nick gave me a couple tips on what to look for. And so let me take this apart and show you what's inside and what I found out. There are just 6 screws that hold the shell on. 1, 2, 3, 4, one under there, 5, and 6. You don't need to take out anything else. Okay, I take that back. You might have to remove this plastic piece here to get in here, and maybe this one, who knows. This front one's just held on by 2 screws. Well, to say I have to take it apart to show you what I want to show you. One thing I forgot to mention, this is a Proto Sound or a Proto Sound 1. It's not actually a Proto Sound 1 because when they first made it, of course, they didn't expect to make a Proto Sound 2 or Proto Sound 3, they just called it Proto Sound. So you could say it's the original Proto Sound or classic Proto Sound, but it's not necessarily listed as Proto Sound 1, it's just Proto Sound. And you can actually see here on the chip, it says PK Doodlebug, PRR, MTH, and it's got the QSI chip on here, so that tells you what's in there. Okay, so what I found is, first of all, there's a battery in here. It's a rechargeable battery, and that's what powers this thing, and it's connected here. Here's the battery I pulled out of it. You can tell that doesn't look too great. So what happens is they kind of get gunky. First thing is, you're supposed to use a rechargeable, because what happens when this powers up, it charges up the batteries. And if you use an alkaline, it's going to overcharge it and then cause it to leak or overheat. And then you're going to have a bunch of white sulfur gunk in there and ruin your engine. So you can use an alkaline battery to test it, if just to see if it works. And it even says in this manual that you can use like an alkaline battery just to test it, but don't leave it in there because it won't take long for that to overheat and cause problems. So yeah, the rechargeable battery was like $17, so got a good energizer there. So what happens is, when the battery dies on these, it resets this whole thing, which is the problem that I had. And I found out that there's a simple procedure to get this to run. Now I'm going to show you something else in here. So you have the battery, it goes down to this connector right here, right in here. And a little trick here, or some information, is this is wired backwards. In other words, if you put a meter on the red wire and the black wire, if the red is actually negative. And what happens is, if you like replace this connector and you don't wire it correctly, you're going to burn it up. I found that out the hard way. And what happens is, this resistor right here will burn up. So fortunately, that's all that happened, is it burned out this protection resistor, which did its job just fine. From looking at photos that I found of this board on the internet, I found that this is a 24 ohm resistor. I did not have a 24 ohm resistor, but I did find a 23 ohm resistor, and that seems to work okay, so we don't have any problems. So I'll show you what I'm talking about real quick. So if I put the red lead on the red, let me put the black one here first, so that's easier to get in. There. So hopefully you can see my meter, and it's showing me a negative voltage. So if I put the red down here where the black wire is connected, then you get a positive. So the red and the black are reversed. So if I put the black lead on the black wire where it's connected, and the red lead where the red wire is connected, you get a negative voltage. I'm trying to do this without accidentally shorting something out. There you go. Okay, so you get a negative voltage. So know that if it turns out that your battery has leaked so bad that it destroyed this connector, then make sure that you wire that correctly. And if you find one of these where the resistor's burnt, 24 ohm resistor, and you're back in business. Okay, I'll put that back together in a minute. In your manual, it tells you how to activate or deactivate all these sounds. There's a quick start basic operation. I'm not going to go through this whole manual, but so there's a horn, a bell. It has the reverse action in there. In other words, if you want this to just go neutral and forward and neutral and forward, and you don't want the reverse, you can deactivate the backwards option. It has squeaking brakes, which you can activate or deactivate. I think there's some conductor noises in here. Passenger station announcements. Yeah. Yeah, there's a volume knob right here for the volume. So anyhow, what happens on this? Cab chatter sounds, things like that. So those are activated or deactivated by a series of turning the power on and turning it off, and maybe using the bell button or the whistle button. So to reset this, you know, if your battery dies, like the situation I had here, it'll reset it and it'll just stay in neutral. So you simply turn the power on, leave it on for a minute, turn on the whistle button, or I'm sorry, well, it's a whistle button on the transformer, and it's also the horn on this, but you know, the button that's on the transformer. And so you turn that on, and then you turn the power down on the throttle, and then let go of the whistle button, and then turn it back on, and it'll reset this. So that's all you have to do to fix it if the battery dies. And similarly, to activate or deactivate the other sounds that I said, it's a matter of turning the throttle on or turning it off for a certain amount of time, pressing a button, either the whistle button or the bell button, you know, maybe twice. So it's all in here. Download the manual, make sure you read it. So I'm going to put this back together, take it upstairs and show you. You'll notice on here there's these little springs here, contacts. So on the front of it there's 4 springs or 2 sets of contacts, and on the back is 1 set, which goes there. Okay, and then you can see on the engine here we've got, you know, 4 contacts there and 2 here. So you want to make sure you put your shell on correctly. And then put your screws in. Sometimes on these screws you'll find that they're hard to get in there because it's screwing into plastic, and then what happens is the plastic gets on the screw and it fits kind of tight. So it doesn't hurt if it's, instead of forcing it and breaking the plastic, clean the gunky plastic off and then insert your screw. Kind of just put them in, not completely tight. In other words, I get them in most of the way and then go back and tighten them. I have put a drop of oil on those screws just to make it go in a little bit better and reduce the risk of breaking the plastic mounts that are in there. Okay, I have multiple controllers here for different trains because I have multiple trains, but I can run the Proto Sound Doodlebug with an old-fashioned post-war ZW here. And as I was saying, all you need to do is control the throttle, the whistle button, and this is the bell button here. And I do not have the engine on the tracks right now because I don't want to end up resetting it again or activating or deactivating something that I don't want to. But the procedure is simple. Power it up, leave it on for a minute or so. You'll hear the engine run, you'll hear the ding ding. Then you put the belt button up like this, put that up, turn the power off, and then let go of it. And that will reset your engine. So that's one function. Now, like I said, to activate or deactivate the other functions, it's a series of push this up, push it down twice or something. Also, if you want to activate or deactivate the bell, you would power it up, press the bell button, power it off, let go of the bell button, or something like that. Read the friendly manual. It has all the information in it. I'm not going to go through each configuration and so forth, but that's generally how it works. So you don't need anything special. An old-fashioned post-war ZW will operate the Proto Sound engine. All right, you want to see this thing run, right? Okay, so I'm going to power this up. You'll hear the engine sounds and the bell ding twice, and then you let it run for a minute, and then power it down, and then back on, and it'll run. So what it's doing is charging the battery and going through a test function. Okay, so that's been about a minute. We'll just simply power it down. And there we go. We'll see if the brake squeal works. Okay, so I did have a brake squeals activated at one point, but I guess I deactivated it. When you slow it down below a certain voltage, then the brake squeal will come on. So I powered that up for a minute. I don't know what the exact time is. I know I powered it up for 30 seconds and tried to redo it, and it would not run. So somewhere between 30 seconds and a minute that you let it charge up. Okay, so since we're here, I would like to find the add-on cars for this. So I'm gonna have to look that up to find out what cars are meant to go with that. But for now, we have Pennsylvania boxcar we can put on here for the fun of it. And again, we'll power this up. If you power it up and then off and then back on and you hear a dink, like you dropped a wrench or something, Nick told me that. He says if it sounds like you dropped a wrench, then you have to reset this. That sound tells you that there's something wrong with it. Okay, there you go. You just heard the brake squeal. I guess I didn't run it long enough or fast enough before. And as you can see, this is not a very fast engine, and Doodlebugs in real life are not very fast. So they always make these things in whatever scale it is, N, H, O, N, O, and I have one in N and H, O, and those are Bachmann's, and they're geared the same way. They just don't go fast. And as far as that reversing option on there, you can enable it or not enable it. If you enable the reverse option, there is a switch underneath here that you can slide back and forth to enable or not enable the reverse action. All right, thanks for watching.